Hello, my name is Christina, and I will be talking to you about Wiliam Bagley and what it is that makes him an educational giant. First off, some background information. William Chandler Bagley was born on March 15th, 1874 in Detroit, Michigan, and died on July 1st, 1946 in New York City, New York. William was the son of William and Ruth Chase. Bagley was originally from Massachusetts, but because his father received the promotion to serve as a hospital superintendent, his family then moved to Detroit. Bagley received his bachelor's degree in 1895 in the Agricultural College of the State of Michigan, which is now known as Michigan State University. He then proceeded to obtain his master's at the University of Wisconsin, later earning his doctorate in psychology and education from Cornell University in 1900. Bagley found himself interested in teaching when he took upon a position as a teacher in a one-room school in Michigan. Bagley met his wife Florence Wigner in St. Louis and had 2 boys and 2 girls. William Bagley is an American philosopher that introduced the philosophy of essentialism in the 1930s, mandating a return to basic education. He is the founder of the Essentialist Education Society, as well as the author of Education and Emergent Man, which was published in 1934. Bagley was critical of progressive education, which he believed damaged the intellectual and moral standards of students. He, as an essentialist, believed that our culture has a core of common knowledge that should be transmitted to students in a systematic, disciplined manner. Essentialism stresses the essential knowledge and skills that productive citizens should have, rather than a set of external truths. Bagley frowned upon the theory of progressivism and believed that their methods of teaching were no good, rather hindering to their children. He introduced the belief that the purpose of schooling is to teach students both facts and morals that they need to become a capable adult in the future. Bagley, as well as other essentialists, believed that it was extremely essential for students to learn the basics. Quote, essentialism is learning the basics, essentials, reading, writing, arithmetic. To an essentialist, it is critical that students have basic knowledge prior to completing complex problems. There are just some established facts that students must learn and know in order to be viewed as an intelligent, competent person. Johnson, 2013, page 29. In essentialism, students are viewed as capable of understanding more than they currently know. It is because of that, the lack of rigorous education, self-discipline, and interest that they have become limited in their success. They believe that students need to be taught what they need to know rather than what they want to know. The 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, should be the core knowledge for all. William Bagley, as an essentialist, believed that the best approach to this content was by exercising the lecture method. The lecture method is where the teacher teaches directly out of the textbook and expects the students to take notes and learn from it. In addition to that, classroom interruptions are just unacceptable. Essentialists do not like it when children ask questions because they feel like they take up the time that should be used to teach the subject or the concept. The ideal classroom setup for an essentialist would be that the desks are all arranged in rows facing towards the teacher. This form or arrangement would disencourage all type of pupil interaction. Educational essentialism, which Bagley propagated, was a reaction to the progressive elements in early 20th century American educational system, which overemphasized freedom and democratic classrooms. As a theory, it is still present in a modern educational and represents a valuable counterbalance to progressivism. So, how does William Bagley's contribution affect teaching nowadays? Well, most of our public schools are now practicing essentialism. That's why teachers as well as students are given textbooks to follow. Students are expected to pay attention during lectures and take notes. The way we are measuring the levels of our knowledge is by standardized testing, such as the SAT, CST, and ACT, and other standardized tests that are required in order to assess our learning. As As you study the breakdown of essentialism in educational setting, you will discover the strong influence essentialism has in today's classroom. It is a dominant theory in American schools, with the implementation of No Child Left Behind, the Federal Education Act passed in 2002. The law stipulates specific guidelines and expectations for U.S. public school instruction of the core subjects of mathematics and reading. Schools are held accountable to meet specified expectations, as demonstrated through student scores on standardized achievement tests. So, if we were to stop and examine what type of theory is taking place in our educational system now, we would come to the conclusion that we are exercising essentialism. In my personal opinion, I believe that essentialism is a great philosophy of education, to a certain extent, that is. I would always not, I wouldn't always stick to the book. I would try to teach the method that is being taught, but if I know that there's a simpler way or a more efficient way, then I would go out of my way and teach that. Although I do agree that the basics need to be taught, like facts and reading and education, arithmetic, I do not agree with the fact that students are not allowed to communicate with each other in a classroom setting. We as humans are very sociable, and in order for us to be able to develop our nature of being able to communicate with others, we must learn how to work with each other. And the fact that in the essentialism classroom, we are discouraged to ask questions if we ever have questions, or to talk about the subject in group discussions. I don't agree with it. And to end off, I want to leave a quote that Wiliam Bagley stated. Essentialists hope that when students leave school, they will possess not only basic skills and an extensive body of knowledge, but also disciplined, practical minds capable of applying schoolhouse lessons in the real world. Thank you.